Now this right here is a major webbot hit that is from at least 2 to 3 years ago, and it talked about radiation, significant levels of hurtful radiation that will be noted while flying in airplanes, like commercial style airplanes, you know, when you take a flight from one state to another or one country to another, etc. The big jumbo jets, those types of airplanes. And that it had, I guess after Fukushima happened, that would be the excuse, technically, that, not the excuse, but the potential reason for this. The other thing was that it was possibly, if I remember correctly, it's been a while, that it could be solar radiation creeping in from, you know, outer space, because the gaping holes in the Earth's magnetic shield, etc. The whys or the reason were not clear, other than dangerous levels of radiation will be seen on Earth at higher levels of altitude. In that there would be an issue with pilots that starts to come up because of it, because the pilots are doing it every day. Having said that, a flight from Chile to the United States has revealed that a maximum CPM, or count per minute, of radiation was over 1,300. So 1,300 plus count per minutes of radiation was detected on board an aircraft, and only during the flight while it was flying high in the sky. And he says, from Chile to about the equator or so, the readings did not change much, and the readings here showing were between 366 to about 614 counts per minute. Now first, let me stop and tell you that anything over 100 counts per minute is a red flag danger zone that the local health organizations of each state, county, etc. would have to kind of raise a flag and say, we have an issue here. The public needs to know about it, blah, blah, blah. Here's what we plan on doing. Now, if it was only 100, maybe 200 counts per minute, going back to the Fukushima days when I really studied a lot of this, I also have a Geiger counter, digital one. I'm pretty sure you could last weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, maybe months and months, and not be in too much danger at 100 to 200 counts per minute. But not much longer after that, you'll start to have some problems. If I remember correctly, we're not talking 100 or 200 CPMs. We're talking, so far on his flight, 300 to 600 counts per minute. That's a lot more dangerous. He says, so the next, after Chile to about the equator, he was flying into Atlanta, and the counts per minute at that particular moment in time was 1,011. And there's another picture of 1,112. And he says the next picture is nearing Oregon, and the final one was taken just before we started to descend into Portland. Some people were beginning to take notice of what I was doing, so I refrained from taking another photograph, but I did measure 1,312 CPM before losing elevation. So as they started to decline, go down, elevation starts going down, the numbers drop with the plane level of elevation. So the lower the plane flew, the less that number started creeping down, until it was, you know, safe again. This is an unbelievable, again, webbot hit. Now, because I just got off of work, read this little bit of news, and decided I need to go ahead and do this now, and then upload it the second I get home, I don't have the opportunity to grab the old webbot reports, which I've got a ton of them sitting in my documents folder on my computer, and I'll search through each of them to find the word radiation and find the actual paragraph that said this is what it said about the airplane flights, etc. So I can't do that right now, but I already know a ton of you have already heard me talk about that stuff over the last couple years or so. This was a prime example, because I do know there was a few people that started testing, oh, we're flying, and it wasn't that bad. It was just a higher level of radiation than normal, and people were arguing with them, well, that's no matter what, when you're in an airplane, the higher level of radiation, you're going to get a little higher radiation than down on Earth. So that kind of shut those people up. This isn't a little bit higher. This is up to 1,300 counts per minute. That is a very dangerous level to be way over here in America. Now, if this is from Fukushima, if you were at Fukushima during the time the disaster happened in 2011 and over in Japan, 1,300 would have been nice to have instead of the thousands that people saw it recorded the closer they got to that area. Thousands of CPM counts per minute. But at the same time, 1,300 CPM is very, very bad news. That is 13 times the alert level in most of the United States of America's health departments. And in California specifically, I know for a fact it's 100. And I want to say that the EPA over here, after Fukushima happened, they raised it a tiny bit to say it's no more red alert level unless it's like 150 or some new number. Let's say it was 200. Okay, let's go that high. I know it wasn't that high. This is still 1,300, and in comparison to 200 counts per minute, this is very bad. So anybody, the stewardesses, the airline pilots, these people are flying every single day for their livelihood, for their paychecks, and don't even have a clue that this is happening. And you know, the military, the government, all the flights that they do, you know they already know. You know they have meters and things on some of these aircraft that would have already picked this up. So they are purposely not telling people, by the way, when you fly in the skies in America now, or across the world, because this was from Chile, you're going to get potentially radiation poisoning and sickness, potentially. Now, granted, they're only going to be on that exposure level for several hours. Some people, maybe an hour to 2 hours if you're flying inside the continental United States, depending on where you're going. But from Chile to here, it's going to be a little while. Hours and hours and hours. So you still might argue and say, well, at least it's only a few hours and not like 24 hours or a day, 2 days, that kind of thing. The bottom line is you cannot argue with 1,300 counts per minute of radiation, even if it's for an hour. I mean, there's nothing that compares to this. This is so disturbing. This is so bad. So the people need to know. And if the people need to know and they start finding out in mass, a lot of people are going to stop flying. And if a lot of people stop flying, a lot of economic problems are going to develop, both for the airlines, which is one thing, but the person who says, I have to do this, this is my job. My job depends on me getting on this plane and flying at least weekly, multiple times a week sometimes. If I don't do this, if I quit my job, then I can't make my money and I can't. So you're going to be stuck deciding, I'll chance it for a 2-hour flight. I'll just keep doing it. I'll hope and pray that it's just, cross my fingers, that it's just temporary and it gets better. I'm going to make a guarantee that I hope I'm wrong about, in that it's going to become illegal for anybody to take a Geiger counter / radiation detector on board an aircraft in the near future. I'm going to venture and say that. It could interfere with the flight electronics. Kind of like your cell phones and stuff. We can't have that on during flight, sir. Sorry about that. Geiger counter. That could be the excuse. So, when I flew to Pastor Dowell's house a year and a half ago, I had mine with me. And took my little readings when I was on the flight from Tampa, Florida to Nashville, Tennessee. And yeah, I saw a little elevated radiation, nothing that scared me at all. But I knew that was normal when you start going higher in the sky. So I was like, oh, that's good. I was kind of actually expecting it to be worse, you know, with Fukushima and all that, man. And it wasn't. So I was a little pleased about that. This, however, as he said, it was the high 1,300s, and once they started declining in elevation to get ready to land, it started dropping right with the plane. By the time they got down to the bottom, everything was cool. You know, to land or whatever, everything was cool. So this is so disturbing, and this is a massive webbot hit. Once again, I've told you, I follow this webbot. It may tell you a time frame to look for this event. It comes and goes. People come out there and try to bash you. Oh, the stupid webbot, we told you about that nonsense. And here it is once again, saying exactly what has happened, except the time frame could have definitely been viewed as should have been here a lot earlier. I don't care when I know to look for these things, because I'll always have that in the back of my mind, so that whenever I get on a plane, period, I'm going to be bringing a Geiger counter with me. Even 2 years past the event when it should have happened, old JSIP4 is going to bring one with them anyways. Because I've seen the webbot get hit, hits. And again, the other day, I'll say it for the 15th time, talked about a UFO type of thing on the Max Kaiser show on the news that would be happening a month in advance. And by God, this little UFO thing zipped by in the back of the screen. A month later, roughly. Spectacular webbot hit. What did it mean? Was it a big event? No. But it was in the data, and like everything that comes in the data, he just reports on it. And I'm going to tell you something else that's been in the data for a long time. And the longer it is in the data, the more sure it's going to happen eventually. Whether you like the timing or not. Gold and silver prices will be skyrocketing beyond control. Don't know when. Don't care when, to tell you the truth, because I kind of like seeing $18 and $19 silver right now. I'm going to tell you the truth. I want more. And I just bought some more, as I told you the other day, twice in 1 week. So I'm done talking. Take care.